Dogman is packed with wild adventures, unforgettable characters, and mind-blowing theories hiding beneath the surface. But what if some of them reveal secrets that completely change the story? Let's look at some of the shocking secret identities, fates, and mysteries that might change how you see the story forever.
10.
Dogman's adventures are wild, action-packed, and full of heart. But here's something to think about. Within the story itself, Dogman was never real to begin with. The books are written by George and Harold, two comic-loving kids from Captain Underpants, who created Dogman as their own homemade comic series. The very first book even opens with them introducing the story. So, if George and Harold imagined every moment, does that mean everything we've seen? The battles, the friendships, the laughs, was all just in their heads? Technically, yes. But does it really matter? Just because Dogman's universe is fictional, within its own story, doesn't erase everything that makes it special. And who's to say Dogman's world doesn't exist somewhere else?
9.
Dogman is the result of a unique medical procedure. Officer Knight's body fused with Greg's head. But here's the big question. Is the human side of Dogman even alive anymore? Legally speaking, most places consider someone alive as long as they're breathing. By that definition, Officer Knight is still around, kind of. But the brain is where consciousness lives, and his brain completely gone. Greg is fully in control, meaning Officer Knight's mind likely didn't survive. That said, Dogman still fights like Officer Knight, which raises another question. Did some part of his mind remain? Or is it just muscle memory, his body moving the way it always did without needing a brain? Or maybe they just don't want to make Dogman sad. So what's the truth? Is Greg simply a dog piloting a human body? Or is some part of Officer Knight still in there? Petey wanted
8.
someone to do his work, follow his orders, and be just like him. So he used a cloning machine. But instead of a perfect worker, Petey ended up with something unexpected, a son. Over time, their bond grew, and even Crud, Petey's father, became part of the family as Lil, Petey's grandpa. But here's the strange part. Should Lil Petey even be considered Petey's son? Think about it. Cloning creates an exact replica, meaning Petey and Lil Petey should technically be the same. Identical DNA. Same genetics. Doesn't that make them twins instead of father and son? And if that's true, wouldn't Crud actually be Lil Petey's biological father too? Unless the cloning wasn't as simple as it looked. The machine worked fast. But did it really just copy Petey's DNA? What if it had a hidden mechanism, one that mixed in other genetic material? If so, Lil Petey wouldn't be an identical copy, but a true son created with a unique genetic code. That might explain why, despite looking alike, their personalities are so different. Sure, life experiences shape people, but Lil Petey was born already knowing how to walk and talk. Maybe he was never meant to be an exact clone in the first place.
7.
Petey plots his jailbreak. The mayor, already frustrated with the police, completely loses it. That's when we get a good look at her office. And one small detail says everything about her personality. The clock behind her doesn't have numbers, just dollar signs, because to her, time is money, and that's all that matters. But the real joke comes when she storms into the police chief's office. After ranting at him for the 100th time, she hands him a card with a phone number, 818-695-3644. Seems random, right? Not really. If you're in the US and call it, someone actually picks up and says, "Life isn't fair." Yep. The movie snuck in a real, working phone number just for the joke. People have tested it, and it works. Unless you're outside the country. Then, well, life really isn't fair. And in case that wasn't enough rejection, the same office has another clock, but this one doesn't even tell time. Instead, it just lists different ways to say no. Looks like this is the place where people go when they need to be told no, whether they like it or not.
6.
Someone so important to Dogman, Officer Knight, is a surprisingly mysterious character. We know he's the human half of Dogman, but beyond that, there's barely any info about him. In fact, we don't even know his first name. That's pretty unusual for the Dogman universe. Other characters with job-based names still have full names. Chief is actually Clarence Bailey. Miss Nurse is Jeannie, and even Officer Knight's dog, Greg, has a proper name. So why is his first name missing? Could it be because his real name is tied to some major plot twist?
5.
Right at the start of the movie, there's a giant statue of Philly, a muscular cheese sandwich, with a grudge against Petey. Fans of the comics know Philly as a talking Mexican cheese taco, but here, he's just a motionless statue. And right after his statue appears, we see Leader Sausage. In the comics, Petey brings him to life, only for him to turn against all cats and create an army of rebellious hot dogs. But in the movie, he's just an advertisement for a restaurant. For now, that could mean nothing, or it could mean everything. If the spray of life ends up in the wrong hands, those statues and ads might not stay lifeless for long.
4.
Petey's orange fur and black stripes make him easy to recognize. But there's one small detail that often goes unnoticed. His tail is missing a piece at the tip. It's not something obvious at first, but when other cats appear in Dogman, the difference becomes clear. Unlike the others, Petey's tail has an uneven, jagged, end, as if part of it was cut off. And this isn't just a fan observation. The books themselves confirm that even characters in the Dogman universe find his tail unusual. But the real question is, what happened to it? One thing we do know is that Petey wasn't born this way. A flashback shows him as a kitten with a perfectly normal tail. Later, another scene shows his tail bandaged and missing a chunk, meaning whatever happened wasn't natural. His father, Crud, even acknowledges it, which has led to a heartbreaking theory. Did he cause the injury? Crud was never a good father, and some believe he hurt Petey so badly that it left permanent damage. But while that theory makes some sense, there's no solid proof. Petey's cloning machine was impressive, but like most online purchases, it came with some fine print. According to the instructions, the machine was supposed to stay closed for 18 years, so the clone could grow into an adult. But Petey, being Petey, skipped that part and ended up with Lil Petey instead. Here's the real question. Does anyone actually wait the full 18 years? If people are using this machine, chances are they're not that patient. Why wait nearly 2 decades when you can get a ready-made kid instantly? And if that's the case, who's really using this technology? Parents who want children? Companies mass-producing? Workers? If cloning machines are out there, there's probably a whole bunch of mini-clones running around in the Dogman universe. That's a little terrifying. One thing Chief is known for, it's his legendary ability to get stressed out. He's grumpy, easily frustrated, and always seemed one step away from a meltdown. But despite all that, we know he has a good heart, especially when it comes to Dogman. So, what's behind all that anger? There's no clear answer, but plenty of possibilities. Running a police station is not an easy job, and dealing with constant chaos, plus a mayor who loves to yell at him, can't help. Maybe he even has a past trauma that shaped his short temper. And of course, there's Dogman himself. Between the face-licking, the accidental messes, and the fact that he's a dog in a police uniform, Chief has his hands full. But no matter how frustrated he gets, one thing's certain. Deep down, he wouldn't trade Dogman for anything. When Petey built ADHD, it was supposed to be nothing more than a weapon for Lil Petey. But instead of using it for battle, Lil Petey gave the robot the ability to make its own choices. And the two became best friends. But here's the big question. Does that mean ADHD is actually self-aware? This isn't just a Dogman mystery. It's something people have debated for years. Can a machine made of wires, gears, and code really think for itself? Or is it just following advanced programming? If ADHD only acts independently because Lil Petey gave it that ability, is that true free will? It all depends on what defines consciousness. If thoughts and choices are what matter most, then who's to say it isn't alive in its own way? And if the Dogman universe believes in something like a soul, that raises an even wilder possibility. Could ADHD have somehow gained one? And there you have it. Some of the wildest theories lurking in Dogman. Whether these ideas make you rethink the story or just make you laugh, one thing's for sure. This universe is full of surprises. Did we miss any theories you've heard? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fun content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.